Welcome back, you guys. Today we're going to be continuing on with our highway right here. So last episode we worked on our bridge tunnel there, which turned out really great. Today's episode we're going to be continuing up this peninsula, working on the highway interchanges and also creating some off-ramps for going directly into the urban area. We're going to change the terrain around a little bit to make it suitable and make sure this new highway interchange is kind of hidden away from all of the residential areas. And we're going to remove some of the trees. There's a lot to do in this episode and it's really going to change this whole area. But the main thing that I wanted to do is to make it really easy for them to get off the highway and off onto the smaller highway, which would take them down towards the islands. And what we had there before just was not suitable. Now what I'm doing here is going to be the highway exit or entrance, which goes more into the urban areas. And I know that we already have a highway entrance and exit right there in the corner of the screen, but that one is mainly for the industrial traffic. So I wanted to do another one here. So let's say they're coming from down on the islands and they don't want to have to go through the big future highway interchange that we'll work on today. So they could exit here and go right into this area. And there's going to be a lot of other residential in the area, which will make more sense in the future. I'm also going to extend this industrial area beyond this ridge over here. So the highway interchange that we make, it's actually going to be 4 ways. So we have the original highway, which goes, off the map and towards the city, and then we're going to have it going from left to right. So one side is going to be connecting up to the islands, then the other side, which is going to be this future industrial estate in this area right here. So I wanted to make sure that I just have everything built. I make sure that I have a lot of lanes because there's going to be a lot of industrial in all of these areas and also a lot of future residential zones, not only just in this spot, but also down on the islands as well. Here we're just starting with a very simple entrance and exit lane ramps. Just goes up here, and I didn't really need to do anything too crazy or creative here. We only needed just the basics, just because it's not going to be the main highway entrance and exit interchange. It's not going to be anything major, but what we're doing right here should be enough for what is going to come in the future, and it's easy to update these anyway. One thing I do want to say before we get too much further into the video, although we're doing a speed build now, at the end of the video I will be going into a live mode to explain all of the lanes, because there are a few different little things that I do off camera which might be hard to explain quickly in a speed build and might also be hard to understand just by quickly looking at it. So there will be a more detailed explanation of all the lanes and why I've got certain lanes connecting here and there, and you guys will see it will all be there at the end and it should be a lot more clearer. I was having a little bit of trouble here because the terrain differences, and I know that the highways are overlapping and there's a bit of weird coloring, but that's okay, we get rid of that at the end. But yeah, this part right here really just was not working very well, but I think we kind of got there in the end. I thought it was too high, so that's why I was lowering down the major highway, so then we could sink down all of these other smaller lanes, because we don't want it to be too huge. We don't want it to be too high and look out of place. And what I'm doing here is something that I've always done. I don't like the difference between where the highway comes in and where it connects to just smaller local roads. So what I do here is I pretty much just hide that connection between the highway and the normal roads. And I always do that in a tunnel because it just does not look very good naturally. So putting it in a tunnel makes it look better. It's hidden. And also it just breaks up that highway as well. So if we want to build over the top of this tunnel, we easily can, and we don't have to worry about a highway. And yeah, mainly it just breaks up the look of the highway and it's hiding this kind of weird yucky connection. But most importantly, I think it really is important to make sure that it fits the terrain and it fits the shape of the land that we're working with. So Yeah, you'll see. I tried to make sure it all blends together. There are going to be some tunnels at the end because some of the merging lanes and slip lanes, they are quite big, and you can see we're right up against a mountain right there, which I've cut away at the moment, but eventually I bring that back, I blend it all in, and some of the lanes do have to go into a tunnel to get around, and it looks a lot better like that. So I've sunken the original highway right there because this elevated highway, it had to come down from right down low where we were just working on, then it had to come up really high right here. And this is what I'm actually going to be doing, but I'm going to be making my own version that's specific for the shape of this land. So that one, I can provide a link for that other interchange if you want. It's going to be pretty much the same thing that we're doing today, but this one is just going to be specific for this area. So different lanes, lane sizes, different shapes and angles, that is all specific to this area. And like I said, it continues on over here, and this is where there's going to be a future big industrial area. So I wanted to make sure that that's done. And also I just add in a quick roundabout there. Not that I'm going to leave it like that. I do change the roundabout and make it look a bit better, but I just wanted to get it done so there is an actual connection. And if they want to use it at the moment, they can. Again, I was having a little bit of trouble with the elevations there, but so this next part, while I'm designing this big interchange, I keep looking back at the other one because, like I said, I am copying it, but not that I can't do my own interchange, but I just go back and forth and just keep looking at it, just to make sure that I'm kind of on track. But as I'm putting it down, I just put all the lanes down very quickly, very kind of like in a rushed method, because I just needed to get it down so then I can visualize how it's all going to go and visualize what lanes need to be the highest, what lanes need to be the lowest, and what lanes need to go in the middle. So I just put it down very quickly, and off camera I go through and completely adjust everything. And you know what, you guys, it was so annoying because the Move It mod suddenly decided that it wasn't going to work. And you know how when you're using the Move It mod, it kind of it snaps all of the lanes and slip lanes together into like a nice curve and things like that. It wasn't working because I had the parallel road tool mod enabled, which I guess doesn't work, or maybe there's another one, but I eventually uninstalled the parallel road tool, and then eventually everything started working a bit better. But that's why I don't show you guys towards the end where I adjust all of the lanes, because it just took way too long. So this lane right here, this is going to be one of the larger lanes. So I made sure that is 2 lanes because it's coming off one of the main directions of the highway, and it's going to be one of the main ones going down the peninsula down to the islands. We also have this one right here, which will kind of do a large big loop over the top and then connect up to this slip lane over here. But like I said, I'll go through all of this at the end where it looks so much better. Right now it's a little bit rough looking and it's probably hard to look at, but at the end there's a lot of lanes. Like, there's so much because we have to do some really unique connections between this interchange and that smaller one that we worked on at the start of the video. So we have to do direct lanes that connect between this one and that other one, and make sure that it's also connecting up to the highway so they can go back and forth, and kind of just it's a lot to look at. So that's why I really need to go through it. I do quite like these lanes because they come off the main highway, they loop around, and then as they're going around they get higher and higher and higher, eventually go over the highway and connect up to the other side. So it's a really nice little addition. I wanted those to be right on the ground just because I think it looks better like that. But I do try to put in seawalls throughout the area, so it looks like it's not all elevated, it's kind of got like some support on it instead of just doing the pillars underneath. Another super important thing is all of these lane connections. So we have a lot of lanes entering, exiting, and I always made sure that we have specific lanes for them to enter into, for them to exit, and all of those entrance and exit lanes, they're not going to be disrupted by traffic that's already on the highway. So that's why, like for example right here, I'm connecting the certain lanes to other lanes so they can't go across the grids. I've also used the line markings, which just help visualize it a little bit more, but you guys will see all of that at the end, and it works really well. The only thing is, at the end of the video, we don't really have too much traffic through here yet because there really isn't too much need for this big highway yet. but we're just prepared because there's going to be a lot of expansion down there eventually. Alright you guys, so let's jump out of the speed build and go have a look at everything in real time and get a real good close-up look of all the lanes and why I've done certain things in that manner. I will try my best to explain all of this to you guys. So like there's a lot of extra things over here. It's a lot, but I think we can do it, I think. Alright, so why don't we start from over in this part right here. So as you guys probably will have noticed, there's a lot of extra little lane changes. I made sure that there's like designated slip lanes off. They have merging lanes, they have little dots, and like it's all there. If there's one that I missed, just let me know, but I think I've got all of them. So let's start from this direction here. So first of all, you have the main two ones that go across here, and if we look at going in this direction, you have this one that goes around here and just goes down onto the highway, but then you also have this one over here which goes around and slips back down onto this connection here which goes over here. And just to show you guys, like we also have this lane here which comes around here, and then it connects with this lane right here. And so down here where the two lanes connect, it goes into two lanes, and then they have time to slowly merge back down into one, and then they can merge back into the highway. And you'll notice here, like they have enough lanes, so the traffic will come down here. They have this lane here to merge on. This traffic will continue on in its straight ones, then they also have an extra one over here. Same for over in this direction as well. So we have the 3 lanes that continue straight ahead. There's also a 4th one that appears here, and they have the 2 designated lanes that go off and go around. But before we go over there, let's go back over to here. So then if you're coming from this direction over here, you have a couple of different options. So if you can just come up here, this one goes around and then comes over to the roundabout and comes to the future industrial spaces over here. So I assume this one will become quite busy in the future. You also have this little lane down through here. So again, they have the designated slip lane to go off. The other cars, they don't touch this one if they're going straight ahead. So they have these 3 lanes if they're going straight ahead. You can come around here, and you can see it goes down underneath. I'm tried to make sure that there's no pillars in the middle of the road. It comes around here. I reduced the speed limit a little bit, goes around and goes underneath this lane right here, comes over and connects up to this lane right here, which is one of the major ones for them to come off the highway to get over to here. Alright, so I think that's alright so far. You guys should be able to follow. Again, we have another slip lane, comes around here. So same as what we just looked at, comes around, goes into a bit of a tunnel here because it is quite steep. So I wanted to integrate the terrain into this a little bit as much as I can. Comes around here and then goes underneath, loops back over and connects here. So this part here is the same as what we saw over here, where we have the 2 lanes that merge together and then eventually merges back to one, except this one isn't as long. I didn't have as much space, but yeah, so it merges down into 1 lane, and there we go. You guys might be thinking, well, why didn't you just continue the 2 lanes over to here onto here? And it's mainly because of the size of the roundabout. So this one here is 3 lanes. I didn't want to downgrade it to 2 lanes because there's going to be a lot of traffic through here eventually. So if we had to do two more lanes here, then that's 5 lanes, and then we'd have to do a 5-lane roundabout, or 4 lanes, sorry, because it goes back down to 2 lanes here. So we'd have to do a 4-lane roundabout, which just seems a little bit too extreme for me. And like, let's say you're coming from here, but then you need to get over into this lane here. Going over 4 lanes with traffic in a short amount of time, it's a little bit chaotic. It's quite a lot. So yeah, we'll just keep it as small as we can. If we are really desperate and we need to update it in the future, we can, but hopefully I can leave it like that. Just to show you guys over here, so we have this one, which I'll show you guys this lane in a second, but it comes over here. It also comes with this one that starts here, goes around, comes around here, and then again we have the 2 little lane connections, but except this one I assume is going to be a little bit busier because a lot of traffic comes from over here and goes down this way. So I just kept it 2 lanes, then 2 lane enters, because we can do that here. We have a lot of space to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lanes. So we have the existing 3 lanes which go over here. I can't really change this angle here, it's just how it is. But yeah, we have a lot of space here as well. The only thing I wish I could do is like see how we have this hard line here? I wish I could continue that to maybe like about there. So then no one can merge until like over here, but that's alright. So that's kind of like this main part. When I go through it like that, it's really not too complicated, right? It's not too bad. But the next part is where it's going to be just different. So for example, when you come along this lane right here, it comes around here, you also have this lane that enters here, right? So the aim for these ones is mainly for it to get back onto this one, correct? So it'll come along here and then it'll go underneath and connect onto the main highway here. So again, we have our designated lanes, and then we have the 2 existing lanes over here as well. Now, if we go back just a little bit further, you'll notice we have this lane here and this lane here. Now, what are those for? Those ones are for the connection for this one over here. So if we look at it from this direction, so let's say you're coming from over here. I better zoom out more. There we go. So if you're coming from over here and you want to go here, you can go up along here, and there we go. If you're coming off the highway here, but for some reason you want to go over here, you have that designated lane which connects up to here. So we got our 2 lanes again, which we've seen a lot throughout here, and then it comes around here and goes into 3 lanes because we have this one entering as well. But then eventually they merge back down to 2 down here, but that's more than enough space for them. So the reason why I've done it like this, and it's the same for this side as well. So what would have originally happened if we didn't do any of this? What would have happened was this lane here would have probably connected about here, right? And then this lane which comes off would have connected down here. So what would have happened? All of this traffic would have entered here, and then there would have been a lot of traffic trying to get off right here. So it would become really congested through here because we'd have traffic trying to just go straight through. We'd have traffic trying to merge over into the left lanes to get off. So that's why I've put the exit lane first and then the entrance lane second. And that's something that you should always do if you want to avoid this type of congestion. So that's why that is like that. Now, if we look over this side as well, same thing again. So just pretend like this isn't like this. So what originally how it was, this lane here, which is this one that comes around here, it would have connected here, and then we also have these other lanes here which break off. So let's say this lane here connected at this point, this lane stayed where it was. So what would have happened? We would have had existing traffic coming along here, we would have had traffic entering here, and we would have had traffic trying to get off here and here. So in this part in between would have become extremely congested because there's going to be a lot of traffic trying to switch lanes at that point. What have we done to fix that? So we have this one over here which is completely fine. I hope there's enough space in between. So this one comes over here. It has two lanes. So you can either choose this lane here, which will take you down over onto the highway over there, or you can choose the right lane, which connects back onto the highway, right? So if you're on this one and you want to get down onto there, so if you're on here and you want to go over to here, you'll break off in between here and go down over there, right? Which is where these two connect as well. So hopefully that makes sense. That's probably the most confusing part, but I have talked about this in the past, and it's something that I've always said that it's really important that you do it like this, otherwise you're going to have issues. And when I was doing all of the city fix videos, this was a common issue which everyone was doing. They would have an entrance lane first and then an exit lane second, and there was a huge congestion area in between. Hopefully that makes sense. But I'll just give one more example. So for example, this lane enters here, right? Then we have our exit lane here. So let's say we have this lane connects here, we have all the traffic coming into this lane here, right? But this lane is also the lane that they need to exit the highway. So there would be traffic coming in here, and maybe there's traffic trying to merge over into this one, and then all of these bits of traffic they're meeting here. It's going to become really slow because these ones are trying to get over here, these ones are trying to get in here, and it's just going to be really chaotic and just not going to work. So that's why it's really important to do it like that. And then over here, you guys saw this one. It's pretty simple. We have our tunnel, which hides the ugly connection between the highway and the normal road. And then we have this one right here. It just breaks off, very simple. So if we're going back to the islands, we follow this one. If we're going towards the highway interchange, we'll go that way. We also have this one here, which breaks off, comes around, and connects up here as well. And you know what? Having these lanes like that really makes such a huge difference. It looks so good like that. It really does. But yeah, that is it. Hopefully that makes sense. I know it's a little bit complicated, this part right here, but if you just think about it and maybe try it on your own, you'll probably understand what I'm talking about, and it'll probably start to make sense to you. But that is it. I will provide a link for this one, or I'll just say what the name is. I'll put some text on the screen what this one's called, and you guys can find that if you want to use that one. But yeah, that is it. How many layers is this? I'm wondering. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like 4 or 5 layers. So it's quite a lot. 4 or 5 layer, big roundabouts. It looks really good, and you can see I've elevated all of the terrain as well, so it kind of just fits in nicely like a glove. Fits really, really good. And there's going to be more traffic coming through here in the future, but you guys will just have to wait for that because we still have a lot of expansion to do. Now, just quickly before I go, I want to leave it up to you guys. What would you like to see me do more? Do you want to see more highway interchange stuff, or should I break back out into the city planning and building the city more? Up to you guys. I don't mind either way. Just let me know. And that's it for this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you guys understood as well. I'll catch you guys later.